Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Let's have a look at a daily challenge problem. Problem 718, maximum length of repeated subarray. So in this video, we're going to share a solution based on sliding window, or actually a for loop. So first, I'll read through the statement of the problem to digest the requirement, and then we do a simple analysis, and finally we share the shortcode. First, let's look at the statement. So given two integer arrays, nums1 and nums2, return the maximum length of a subarray that appears in both arrays. So here are two examples. Let's start from example 2. So in example 2, the two arrays both contain 5 consecutive zeros. So nums1 or nums2 itself is the maximum length subarray. So we're going to return 5 in this case. So now let's look at example 1. So in example 1, so 321 appears in both the two arrays. So the maximum length is 3. So we return 3 in this case. So the constraints, or we can see the additional assumptions for this problem, is the following. First, the length of the two arrays is in between 1 and 1000. And second, the element range is in between 0 and 100. So the second constraint is going to play some role in our solution. So with that said, let's look at the method. So here we're going to use a sliding window. So or we can say we just use a for loop. So the key observation is the following. So for two strings s and t, so if s is not a substring of t, but s is a substring of w, and then w cannot be a substring of t. So in plain English, so if s is not a substring of t, and then any string containing s as a substring cannot be a substring of t. So this is the main observation or key observation for our solution format. So the procedure we're going to take is the following. So we're going to map the two lists into two strings respectively, and then what we are going to do is to check the longest substring of one that is also a substring of the other based on the key observation. So before we write the code, let's make a remark. So this problem actually can be connected with a type of problem, the longest common substring or subsequence problems of two strings. So typically we solve this kind of problem using DP, but in the problem setting here, so we can write DP solution, but sometimes when we do the generic case test, it can be time limit exceeded. So here we only present one solution based on sliding window. So with that said, let's look at the solution format. So first, I'm going to use the string method and list comprehension to map the two integer array into strings. So let's see, nums1 string. I'm going to use the join method. So then join a list. So the list will consist of characters. So we're going to use character function for atom. So for atom in nums1. So similarly, we can copy this part and then make some modifications. I'm going to change this 1 to 2. So this way we transformed the two strings into the two integer arrays into two strings respectively. So next I'm going to track the length of nums1 or nums1 string. So this is the same. And then we're going to initialize a result variable. The result is going to track the longest or maximal common string. So the final state of the result variable is what we want to return. And then we can initialize a left pointer, let's call it I. And then we're going to do the for loop. So for j in range, so I'm going to write 1 up to n plus 1. The reason we write j from 1 up to n is because we're going to check something like this: nums1 string I to j. So the j is not included, right? So that's why we use 1, this corresponding to character 0, right, if I equals 0. So then we're going to check if this object is in nums2 string. So if so, we're going to update the variable result. So it's the maximal of the previous stage and the current length, because this part actually starts from index I and ending at index j minus 1. In other words, it should have a length j minus 1 minus I plus 1. So in other words, it's j minus I. So this is the one case. Otherwise, so if I less than j, so we're going to increment I by 1. So here, if this guy, so any cases, if nums1 string, this piece is not a substring of this nums2 string, then based on this observation, so for next round, we're going to start from I increment by 1. So with that said, so we're ready to return the result state. So that's the full solution format. So I guess it's good to have a test first. Yeah, it passes example 1. Now let's do a generic case check. Oh yeah, it passes all the generic cases. So here, so we used this uni characters. So they are ordinal numbers. So actually, if you are interested in, you can print out. So for I in range, so 101. So because here the range is between 0 and 100, so we can print out this character I, just to have a feeling of what's the corresponding characters. So this is the same, right? So anyway, that's not that important for the solution to this problem. So with that said, I guess that's about it for this video. Thank you very much.